Hey guys, this is David.
This is Chris.
This is the Realtor Daddy podcast.
Yo, welcome back. It's episode 3, and we're going to talk about just random stuff. How was your weekend, man?
Man, it was a crazy weekend to be honest.
What happened?
I I hate to admit it, but I also feel like I have to admit this too. Parker just had his very first fall,
Oh, damn, dude.
and in that moment, it was just extremely terrifying.
Dang.
I've never been more terrified in my entire life in that very moment when he fell, and I think I'd like to talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a big part of parenthood, like falls and accidents.
yeah, it's a
What
really
happened? Yeah.
so Parker, we kind of co-sleep with him. And I know a lot of doctors out there they don't recommend co-sleeping now, but a lot of
Yeah.
Asian countries they still co-sleep. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's right or wrong, but so we co-sleep. So Parker was on our bed, and I just want to say like the bed itself, I measured it is exactly 19 inches off the ground. That's a
Okay.
very important detail for all of the people watching. But he had fallen asleep, and Nee and I had kind of climbed into bed with him, and we were just kind of talking
Yeah.
about our day, and then eventually we just kind of fall asleep ourselves. And then next thing you know, we just hear this gigantic thud,
Oh, no.
and immediately like our parental instincts just kicked in,
Yeah.
and then we just like, oh my god, he fell, and
Oh,
then
shit.
it was scary because like he was just crying the entire time, like he was like inconsolable for probably like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty long, dude. What
Yeah.
time was this at night?
It was like 10 10:45,
Yeah.
right around when it happened.
Was it dark at
Yeah,
the time? Oh, okay.
it was already really dark. 10:45 at night, he fell, and like immediately, knee ran over to grab him, pick him up. And when we looked at him, though, we noticed his mouth was like completely bloody.
Oh my god,
Like
dude.
we
That's
didn't even know what happened. We thought maybe he had bit his lip, or like we weren't sure if he had a concussion, or really like anything. And it was the
yeah.
craziest thing. So our first instinct was like we got to take him to the ER because we're like super worried. But then at the same time, like I remember reading a lot of stuff on Reddit
Mhm.
and just seeing things on IG, Instagram, and they were talking about like if your baby falls and it's like less than a 3 foot distance to the ground, odds are they're probably gonna be okay. So we figured like, you know what, let's just call our doctor real quick. So we called the physician's exchange. We got connected to our pediatrician, and he basically told us the same thing. Because of that distance to the ground, it wasn't like a super serious fall, I guess, like medically. But he did ask us to look out for some warning signs, and that's going to include like vomiting. So if your baby like fell and then they're like just vomiting a lot, like 2 3 times within the next hour or so,
Yeah.
that's a good sign that you got to go to the ER,
Oh my
right?
god.
If they're also having issues, kind of like staying awake, like being conscious, and alert, that's also like another sign that you should probably go to the ER. And there was a multitude of other things too. Luckily, Parker didn't like exhibit any of those kinds of symptoms. But like in that moment, we were terrified
Yeah.
because that was the very first fall that Parker had ever had.
Dang.
And in that moment, we were like we're going through all these emotions like fear, guilt, a little bit of anger, I guess, between the two of us. Because like, why weren't you watching him?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But
The blame game.
yeah, we like the blame game started, but they were like, no, like our son matters first. He's got to come first. So we just had to make sure he was okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, doctor basically said like he should be all right. Just look out for those signs. And then for myself, like I started going on Reddit too, just
Okay.
to see like what other parents might be experiencing.
Yeah.
And it was I took a lot of comfort in knowing that every parent goes through the same thing. And there's this one guy on Reddit who wrote this comment, and he said like there are two types of parents: the parents whose kids have fallen, and the parents who lie about their kids falling, about them not falling. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Dude, yeah.
So
They fall all the time.
yeah, so man, like so now that it's kind of like we're a little more calm now,
Mhm.
and it's been a few days already, and Parker is like totally fine.
Yeah,
He's
he
his
looks
normal
good.
happy
Yeah.
self. We're okay again.
That's good.
But now we're like, we gotta baby proof this damn house.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
every inch of it, dude.
Yeah. So like as soon as it happened, like pretty much the next day, like I decided to just take apart my entire bed. We're gonna cut off these side
Oh
tables that I
wow.
built into it,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna put up the wall for his crib.
Hmm.
And now we have this rule: always in the crib now. We're not co-sleeping with him
Oh
anymore.
really? Wow.
He's gonna be in the crib every time. Any kind of nap, short or long, in the crib. Overnight in the crib.
Wow.
Camera on him at all times. Like, you know,
Dude, that must be a difficult transition because you co-slept with him for the rest of the
yeah,
for his life. Is he having trouble adjusting to that? Like, is he crying more?
he is having some trouble adjusting.
Yeah.
I think because he's gotten so used to sort of like sleeping with us, or
Hmm.
at least very close to me, because he's in his own crib. Like, yeah, there he'll wake up a lot more throughout the night now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think it's like a necessary sort of transition too, because eventually like he's gonna have his own room, so we do want him to be independent and be able to sort of self-soothe.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big thing too, because leading up to that whole incident, he's always kind of relied on our presence
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm.
soothe himself and calm him down, to go back to sleep. So now it's sort of like we're still in the same room, but he's he's kind of like on his own bed, and he has to sort
Yeah.
of realize, hey, mom and dad are still here, everything's okay, I can go back to sleep. But it's tough though.
Yeah.
Like we still feel the need to like want to bring him back to our bed because we've gotten
I
kind of
get
used
that.
to it too. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough transition for I think
Yeah.
all of us.
I'm
Yeah,
sure he's like crying a lot and like, are you? It's like sleep training all over again,
a
right?
little bit. Yeah.
It's like he's like this. This happened to Lei. She would be just crying, and Yuki would hold her until she sleeps.
Mm,
And yeah, when she didn't do that, it was hard for all of us because I'd be trying to work or do something. Lei would sleep, like cry before she sleeps, like hours, like
yeah.
really long. So I'm sure that's happening to you.
It is. It is.
Yeah. But
And
dang, so when blood was coming out of his mouth, I would be freaking out, dude. I'd be like,
dude.
"The fuck is wrong with my baby?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I would be shitting my pants.
Yeah. So I mean, so that brings along like some extra worries for us too, because
Yeah.
now like after the blood kind of cleared, we were looking in his mouth to kind of see like to look for abrasions and stuff.
Hmm.
And we didn't see any outside of like this one abrasion on like the top teeth. So now it's like a whole new like set of fears. Like now it's like, oh shit, did we like impact his like teeth growth?
Oh,
Like are his gums gonna be
yeah,
okay? Is that area of his face all right?
yeah.
And then I realized afterwards, it's like, look, we don't see any swelling, especially like the day or two afterwards. There was like no swelling. He's
Good,
like his
good.
good old happy self. But man, like in that moment, seeing all the blood from my son's face,
Yeah.
and I don't do too well with blood either. So
Oh
like,
my god.
in that moment, it's like, okay, do I succumb to my fears of blood, or am I just gonna take care of my kid?
Yeah.
So luckily, the take care of my kid side took over.
Yet,
So
is
yeah,
was it instinctual or like
it was.
you
It was
have
like
to snap?
it was like a split second of like, oh crap, blood. It was like, no, fuck it,
Yeah.
kid, take care of the kid.
Well, in what would happen in a normal situation where you see a lot of blood? Would you like pull out from
Oh,
there?
I I do feel faint sometimes
Oh
seeing a
wow.
lot of blood.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, like even during Nee's pregnancy, like during the
Yeah, I
whole
can't
birthing thing.
imagine.
Oh man, I was very fortunate that I told the nurses I'm not too good with blood,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, hey, don't worry about it. We're gonna keep you so busy, you're not even gonna like realize. So I was like, okay, I hope so. So, you know, like they had me doing stuff with them and like helping like with the whole birthing process.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was okay. Like I saw the blood, but I was so focused on like helping or doing what little I could do to contribute to the whole birth that I didn't really care about the blood at that point. And sort of the same thing happened when like Parker had all the blood coming out of his mouth. It was like, look, I gotta take care of you. I gotta push that fear of the blood
Yeah.
aside,
Dang,
right?
you must have had like a towel or tissues filled with blood. Like,
Yeah,
God.
it was everywhere.
Wait, what
And
day was that? Was that Halloween, dude, or was that a
uh,
day after?
the
Oh,
day
the
after
weekend.
Halloween, if I remember correctly, day after Halloween.
Dang,
Yeah,
that sucks. I'm
yeah.
glad he's okay though, but I'm pretty sure, like, if you in the past, if you had no doctor on the phone with you, that would be super scary. Now we have
Yeah.
24/7 access to a doctor
Yeah, shout out to
and
like technology and
yeah.
just being accessible these days. And shout out to Dr. Dip. Thank you for picking up the phone at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
crazy.
know, yeah. But I mean, so I gotta ask, like, have you ever had any experience with like lay falling?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay,
She fell like maybe about four good times. Yeah,
four.
yeah. Like
Wow.
well, she's sitting up. Like
Yeah,
so, she would be sitting up, and then she'd fall back because we wouldn't be watching her.
yeah,
Uh, like we think that she's stable enough to hold her own
yeah.
weight, but yeah, it happens. Like she fell on the back of her head a couple times, but luckily it was padded. Like there's padding.
Oh, good, good,
Yeah,
good.
it's just that is that enough, right? Like for their fragile little brains, and like
Yeah.
we would like call for the doctor, and we'd look at Reddit too. Dude, Reddit's so good.
Reddit is
Like yeah,
awesome. Like,
I love it.
it's much better than WebMD. I feel like,
Yeah.
WebMD, like if your child fell, he probably has cancer.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
If you go to Reddit,
Everything.
it's okay. There's parents there who will like talk some sense into you. So like for our viewers and our listeners out there, do not WebMD anything.
Yeah.
Go to Reddit. You're gonna get better advice.
Dude, for real.
you know?
I love Reddit because it's like genuine. Like there's no reason to like lie on there,
Yeah.
like about babies
Yeah.
falling or even like other things. Like people are really honest on Reddit, I feel. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And also like I think for our parents out there with newborns, as your child gets to that like 6 month to 8 month old range and they start to sit, you are going to experience a lot more falls.
yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Granted, they're going to be smaller falls, like Chris said. A lot of times it's like they're just kind of sitting, learning how to sit and balance themselves, and then they'll just sort of fall over.
Hmm.
And a lot of doctors do agree that it's going to happen, and those types of falls are pretty like non-serious. Um, but obviously, like you want to avoid it, all the falling as much as possible for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I do share that same concern about like what's going on with their brains.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just make sure the area is padded. Always watch them. Yeah, just always be watching them. Keep an eye on them. But if they fall, and again, like as long as it's under 3 feet, I think you're okay.
That's good.
You know.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she actually fell off the bed, but and we have a wall.
Yeah.
Like on our bed, like we bought it on Amazon. It's like a barrier, metal frame, and there's like some kind of mesh barrier. But she fell through the thing, so it didn't do its job.
Oh.
But like it broke her fall to a point where it wasn't that bad.
Oh,
Right?
so she didn't fall like completely to the ground then, because she kind of caught in between the
Yeah,
wall and the.
in between the wall,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
so she kind of like fell and like slowly broke, but I'm sure it still hurt for her.
I mean, and I don't know about like the babies, but like to us as parents, it's
Yeah,
traumatic
yeah,
seeing that.
yeah,
But like I'm looking at our babies now, and it's like
yeah. They're fine.
they probably don't remember
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
They're not gonna remember it really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, what did you take to baby proof your house? Like I bought the plugs, the
yeah.
plug things.
Plug everything.
Yeah,
Um,
corners.
yeah, we bubble wrap all the corners.
Yeah,
Um, all the small little like things that a baby could put into their mouths, especially
yeah.
now
That's
because they
scary,
have the
dude.
use of their hands now.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Every small tiny little thing, it's off the floor now.
Yeah.
It's off the tables. It's all put away. Extension cords,
Yeah.
all that stuff, gotta be put away. Nothing's connected anymore unless we, as the parents, are nearby.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of funny. I have a story
Ugh.
as a kid, and this might be the reason why I have like kind of wavy hair.
Okay.
Um, I think this is like when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So even baby proofing, it didn't really help.
Oh
Okay.
dang. Okay.
I was a stupid kid.
Oh, 4 or 5 years old. Okay.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5 years old. I actually stuck an extension cord in my mouth. It was connected to the wall,
Oh
and like
shoot.
I shocked myself,
Oh,
and it was like a
wow.
frayed cord too. So like it
Oh.
wasn't I'm not an electrician, so I don't know the proper terms or whatnot. But like, I guess the current was there. It was a live wire, and I sucked on it, and it shorted the room.
Wow.
And legend has it, according to my mom, that after that incident, like my hair became wavy and curly. I don't know if it's like too much Hollywood movies that she's watching, but like apparently I had like really nice straight Asian hair before,
That's funny,
and
dude.
now it's like wavy because of that incident. So
Dude,
they had baby proof the house too, but I guess it wasn't David proof.
God. Wait, so that wire was frayed already, but you found your way to it?
Yeah,
Is
and
that,
it was attached to the wall still. And I, as a 4-year-old or 5-year-old,
dude, that's
had the bright
nuts.
idea to like stick it in my mouth, and I got
Wow.
shocked,
And you didn't die.
and I
That's
didn't
amazing.
die.
Babies are resilient.
Yes,
Dude.
even 4 or 5-year-olds.
Holy
So for the
shit.
parents out there watching and listening, your baby's gonna be okay. They're extremely
Yeah.
resilient, but obviously, like don't let them just get
Yeah,
into those
yeah.
situations. But they're okay.
Holy
Yeah.
shoot, dude. That's a cool story. So you was there like a barrier blocking that, or you just like found your way to that?
Honestly, I only remember like bits and pieces of it,
Yeah,
but I don't recall there being some sort of barrier.
I see.
And back then too, like I guess there wasn't as much safety precautions that parents could take, or maybe they just weren't aware.
Yeah,
My parents did what they could,
yeah, yeah.
so it still happens. But yeah, I don't recall there being any sort of barrier. And I've done like really stupid things too as a
Oh,
kid. I've
like
also
what?
stuck a fork into
Oh,
an
dude,
outlet.
did you get shocked?
I got shocked and I showed in
Dude,
the
you
room.
survived.
I've been shocked many times.
So you don't die?
I didn't die. I'm still here.
No, did you go to the doctors or something? Like I've never stuck or got shocked before, so
Uh,
my imagination of
I
that.
don't think I went to the doctors. My parents never took me there.
Yeah.
So my parents being like Asians too, they don't believe in Western medicine.
Yeah.
So like every time I was sick, they're like, "Ah, it's okay. Here, just drink some tea and you're good to go. You can."
Little
Sorry, I had to
intermission.
grab our umbrellas real quick. It's what is this now? Beginning of November, sort of the start of the rainy season a little bit. So
Yeah, bipolar weather. It's
yeah,
been raining off and on for 5 minutes at a time.
yeah,
Just normal Hawaii stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, sorry. You got shocked by sticking a fork into
Into an
the
outlet.
outlet.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've been
You're
shocked
tough,
many
bro.
times. Yeah,
Maybe that's why you're resilient.
I,
'Cause
I
you
built
know,
up some resistance in my body to electricity, maybe.
dude. Wait, you don't die. That's a good thing because I'm not too worried.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I've also been shocked as an adult.
Oh wow.
The most recent one was last year, renovating a house.
Oh
I for In
wow.
my excitement installing a ring security system,
Okay.
I tested it after I installed it, and then I ran to the backside of the house to start installing the other ring camera, but I forgot to shut the breaker off. And by the time I found out that I forgot to shut the breaker off, the wire was already jammed into my forearm, and I
Oh
felt the shock
wow.
for like probably 30 seconds before I realized I was being shocked.
Oh shit.
So it's really interesting. You start to feel warm and you feel a hum throughout your entire body.
Yeah. Was there like a ringing kind of
Yeah, like a ringing in
like?
your ear almost. And heat running through my arm and like just electrical current running through my entire right side of the body almost. Yeah, but luckily I
You're
wasn't like
alive.
attached to it. Yeah, I'm alive, so we're okay. And
You get burned?
I got a little burn. I think
Uh
the scar is still here a little bit. I don't know. It's kind of right there. Um, but I was frozen for a little while.
like
So yeah, how they depict it in the movies legit happens like that. Like it dug into my arm and I was like
oh shoot, like you couldn't move.
yeah, like
It was all involuntary.
yeah, well, like I guess eventually because my arm like moved out of the way, the shock stopped. But
Oh
I had to like sort of sit down for a little bit because like that's a lot of current running through your body,
dude,
and
that's
like
scary.
I felt like I started had like heart palpitations
Yeah, yeah.
afterwards. Uh,
Was this before Parker or after Parker?
this is before Parker.
Oh, dude. Like before you guys started?
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah,
Parker
so
wouldn't be here.
yeah, I
You
know,
know?
but
That's
yeah,
so
we're okay
crazy.
though. I'm good, hopefully.
Okay, that gives me comfort because I guess you can't die or it
I think with enough current, you probably will.
Okay.
Like if I stood there for like a long enough time, I would probably
Oh,
die.
I see.
Like I don't think your heart can take that kind of current for
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
prolonged
yeah,
period.
yeah.
But like just a little shock, like you're okay.
Oh,
You'll be
okay.
fine. I
Dang,
guess that
dude.
goes for babies too.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That makes me a little more comfortable if something happens. Like
yeah,
I don't pray it to happen, but like wow. Okay. So baby proofing all the all the outlets covered, bubble wrap corners.
yeah, or
Uh,
even just like filing down corners too. If you can do that, I would. I used to really love like having vinyl flooring or hardwood,
yeah, yeah.
but now that the fall had taken place, I'm kind of like, okay, well, if I see carpet, I'm not opposed to it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
Because the carpet will definitely soften a fall.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah. So we had a situation where Lay fell on hardwood floor,
Mm,
and that was scary. So we what we did was we got the puzzle foam pieces,
I have those.
and we just freaking bought four of them, and like it was like it's big and it fits like I don't know how big my living room is, but it's like all covered now.
Yeah. Oh, did you stack them on top of each other, like four layers of
Oh
the
no,
foam, or?
just like four like they're I don't know how they're probably like a four by
Oh,
four.
okay.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
like bought four of them, and they're like covering the whole
yeah.
living room now.
Awesome. We bought those too. They definitely come in handy for sure.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
man. So having a baby can be really scary at times, right?
It comes with a lot of fears,
Yeah,
especially as a first time parent. Um, and I hope that our viewers and listeners out there can kind of take some comfort from this podcast, knowing that you're not alone. It happens to every parent out there. It's sort of almost like a rite of passage, according to the people that
yeah.
I that have commented on Reddit. It's a rite of passage. You don't become a parent until your kid has fallen.
Oh, that's so
It's
interesting.
like welcome to the club. Now you're a parent. You're an
Yeah,
official parent.
it's like I've never truly understood parents until I had a kid, right? Like
Yeah.
people would be like my dad would be like you'll understand when you're older, and I'd be like yeah, yeah, whatever. But like now I understand like there's so many things to worry about, like if they're breathing, always looking at the fucking
The baby
baby
monitor.
monitor. Like
Yeah.
I'm on that like all the time, even when I'm working, like even like a millisecond past, I'd be like are they breathing? Is she breathing?
I know how you feel, man. It's going into parenthood is that is the scariest hood.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for real. In the real hood.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
what are other fears you have?
So I mean, outside of keeping Parker safe, um, I think you had mentioned it in the last episode. It's also making sure that um, we're leaving behind something for them too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That we're teaching them properly. We're not instilling like terrible like ideals and morals into them too. Like I think there's a lot of pressure being parents to do that,
yeah.
and I think I have no words to really describe that kind of fear. Like until you actually become a parent, you really just have no idea.
For real,
The
yeah.
financial pressures that you
Uh-huh.
feel, teaching them life lessons, raising them right, keeping them out of trouble.
Safety, health, their development.
Yeah. Not to mention, yeah, all those
Yeah,
physiological things too, and development wise, it's like I I don't know about you, but I'm like, and I hate to say this, but I'm constantly comparing Parker's like milestones and his development
yeah.
against other babies too, and it's
I
like the
do.
worst thing for a parent to
It
do.
is.
And for our listeners, like, stop comparing your kid.
Yep.
You have to stop. It is completely toxic. It doesn't help. Your kid is doing fine. They will hit their milestones when they hit them. They have their own timeline. It's not a race. And I think that's something that parents really have to internalize and understand. Your
Yeah,
baby will get there, and they'll get there in their own way, in their own time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Like it's like we do as individuals, we do the comparing game with ourselves,
Yeah.
and like doing that with your baby, it's like just not. good for you, like mentally. And so it teaches us about nature. Just let it go, like let them develop on their own time, because as much as you water a plant, it might wilt because of overwatering, or
Yeah,
because you can't l- make a plant grow by just looking at it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it just
absolutely,
grows by itself.
absolutely. Actually, that brings into mind a really cool quote I had read over the weekend too, and it goes a little something like, "Be so focused on making your grass green that you don't even care about if other people's grass is green."
Yeah,
You
man.
know, and I think that's so cool because it's like, yeah, just stick to your own thing, do your own thing, take care of your own family, take care of yourself, and all of it will just align. All of it will fall into place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that, man. That's
yeah,
that's deep. That we it relates to your baby, it relates to your life and what you're doing with yourself
yeah,
and your growth as well. We always keep comparing ourselves, and this makes us feel really bad, like guilty, like what am I doing? What is my baby doing? Like it's
yeah,
just a really toxic game that
yeah.
we play.
Speaking about like just focusing on what we're doing and just making sure we're just doing right by our families and stuff. Um, I know there's a lot of fear involved with like raising a kid too, and just like in real estate too. And we're gonna try to bring some real estate into
Yeah.
this. Um, there are a lot of fears surrounding real estate, right? So what Chris and I did as the Realtor Daddies is we created this really cool calculator, and we want you guys to download this. We're gonna include a link into the description box below, and just download the calculator. It's super cool. We spent some time on it. All you do is just punch in how much you're making per month. Be honest. How much debt you have per month, and also definitely be honest. What your credit score is, and what your down payment amount is going to be. And in the right column, it's going to spit out a very approximate number of what you could potentially be pre approved for. And we wanted to create this for you guys because we realize there's a lot of fears involved
Yep.
with looking at your financials, right? And so to sort of take away that fear and to not make you guys have to go directly to a lender and sit down in an office and talk about your financial health and all that, at least this way it gives you sort of a foundation to work off of, right? It gives you a goal, it gives you a guide, some direction to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, the reason why I like this, by the way, David made this calculator. He put all the formulas. I was like, dude, does this exist? Like, can people check if they're qualified or not without talking to anyone? And this was a big one for myself, and I think a lot of people out there. And I'm sure you know the feeling of, am I really ready? I don't want to talk to anyone, but I want to check,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So disclosure though, we're not lenders, so don't hold us to the numbers that you get.
Yeah.
But this is purely just meant to be a guide, just as a small starting point, just to help you guys in your home buying journey. Um, and then obviously, if you want to take it a step further, talk to one of us. We'll get you in touch with lenders who will definitely help you out. They're not pushy, and they'll help you figure out where your finances are and give you a plan to set you on that journey for home ownership.
To even check or to even ask for help, that's a big thing
Yeah,
for especially people who haven't bought a home before.
yeah,
So this is
absolutely.
this is gonna be huge. That's why we call this the no shame, no judgment calculator.
Yeah. You do it in the comfort of your own home. You just download a copy of the calculator. You can fill it out on your phone, and it'll just spit out some numbers for you. And at least that way, you kind of know where to start. So I mean, take it from me. Like when my wife and I were looking to buy a place, even being a realtor, like I know we're supposed to talk to a lender first.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Oh.
We ended up looking at all these properties, falling in love with these homes, and then after we fell in love with the home, we're like, okay, let's talk to the lender now. And guess what? We didn't qualify
Oh
because,
man.
I mean, I had done a lot of stuff with my taxes and we just couldn't qualify. But, if I had this handy dandy, no judgment, no shame calculator available, I at least could have figured out, hey, we're looking in the completely wrong price range. Let's look at something else. It would have saved us a lot of time and a lot of heartache too if this calculator was available. So please download this, guys. It's a great resource for you to use. and I think you guys will like it.
Yeah, we just wanted this to kind of break the first barrier, the first wall, which is a really high wall to a lot of people, by the way.
Yeah, and again, like no shame. It's just if you want to own a home, sit down, look at your finances. That's like the number one step that you got to take. And yeah, we realize as millennials, it's like, I have a lot of social anxiety. I don't know about you. So
Yeah,
I don't like
yeah,
meeting people too
yeah.
often. Even being a realtor,
Uh-huh.
like it takes a lot of energy to just be on all the time and talk to people.
For
So
real.
to do this in the comfort of your own home and kind of figure out a baseline of where your finances are, hopefully this will be a very good, a giant first step
Yeah.
for everyone out there who wants to buy a home.
Super helpful, dude. And not because I'm from Hawaii, but like I know a lot of people, because this is a small island, they have those fears of like, I don't want to talk to anyone because I don't want people to know my financial situation. Well, this can like get over that fear because you won't need to talk to anyone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why we created this calculator,
That's awesome.
so you don't have to worry about that. Just figure it out on your own in the comfort of your own home.
That's so cool, bro. So I'm gonna send this to all my friends and family because I didn't know things like this exist. Like what other tools are there that exist?
I am glad you asked, Chris. So we also have a your complete buyer's guide for all my first time home buyers or even people who have already bought a home but haven't bought one like in a very long time. It's a great guide for you guys to look through. It'll walk you through the entire home buying process, what you need to do, what documents you need, and really, it's a super comprehensive guide. We also have sellers guides out there for all of the first time sellers, people who are looking to upgrade, get a bigger home, or even just downsize from their home a little bit. It's a great guide for you. It'll talk to you about the listing process, how to prepare your home for listing, and really just great questions to ask your agent when you're interviewing people. We're going to include all those links in the description box again below, so you guys can just download them on your own time. But these are fantastic guides, and I think our entire goal here doing the Road to Daddy podcast too is Chris and I want to be a resource to all of our followers out there. You know, we're not pushy people,
Yep.
and we just want to help and educate and help local families attain home ownership.
Yeah, we know it's hard out there. We know like things are getting more expensive, gas, living expenses. We hope to be that resource so you can go on your own time, your own freedom to look at what you have and what's available for you. So this is going to be huge, man. I know that we can impact a lot of people with this through my journey and through your knowledge.
So please download it. Again, no shame, no judgment. It's all free. There's no cost to it. Just punching your name. I think it's gonna ask for an email address, and then it'll just send to you.
Yeah, and when you do sign up for this, we're happy to send you other resources as we go through our journey. So we are actually in rainy Kapiolani Park right now. There's a bandstand behind us. But dude, what do you guys do on rainy days? So me and Yuki have a hard time finding things to do, like in Hawaii
Yeah,
on rainy days.
we don't really do much on rainy days, to be
Yeah,
honest. It's so like it's such sleepy weather. We just end up almost like staying in bed the whole time.
that's
Honestly, like we
nice.
shouldn't be doing that. We got work to do. We got a baby to feed now.
Yeah,
But like I'm really looking forward to like when our kids get older, and like I never got to experience this because like being that my parents are Asian and like Chinese, even they immediately think that being in the rain you're gonna get sick
yeah,
automatically,
yeah. That's not true.
right? It's not true.
Yeah,
But
viruses get you sick.
yeah, viruses, bacteria get you sick. So, you know, being in the rain, playing in the rain, I never got to do that.
Oh, really?
So I
Okay.
want Parker to be able to enjoy that and experience it too. So like I'm gonna buy him rain boots. I'm gonna get him a rain jacket, and we're gonna look for like the biggest puddle out there, and we're gonna jump into that thing, and we're gonna get wet.
That's so
I want to
funny.
experience that with my son because I never got to do it myself.
Wow. Were they really strict on you, your parents?
Oh, extremely strict. Yeah, like going back to what I said before, if I was ever sick and I was like legitimately sick, they would
Uh-huh.
still make me go to school.
Dude,
They would
same
send me
here.
off with
Yeah,
some like some weird Chinese medicine or some teas, and then
yeah.
that's it. Go to school, you're good.
Oh man,
Like I could be like
dying.
I could be literally dying. They're like, nah, you're fine. Go to school.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
That's like I think it's like Asia, dude.
yeah,
Like you have to still do work or go to school even if you're sick. And I
yeah,
carried this with me to adulthood
yeah, for sure.
until like recently I'm a little more like, oh, I got to rest. If I don't rest, then I can't make money. But yeah, dude, I think it's Asian
Yeah,
parents.
absolutely. And it, like, would you raise your kid that way? Is Lay gonna be like that too? Like, oh, you're not sick. You go to school. Like,
No,
no.
like now that I understand that she could get people's kids
Yeah,
sick too. Yeah, I wouldn't want that, and yeah, I don't want other people to get sick. But she also needs to rest as well because you can't think when you're sick, dude. I mean, there's some times where you just have to muscle through it. How about you? Are you gonna?
no. It's same thing, same reason as you. It's like I think especially after COVID, going
Yeah,
through COVID, it's really made me very conscious about like kids. Kids are kind of gross to be
yeah,
honest. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. They
they stick their
freaking
fingers
gross.
everywhere, and then after they stick them everywhere, they stick them in their
Yeah,
mouths, right?
they lick everything, dude.
Yeah. So knowing that and just being super conscious about how bacteria and viruses go around now. It's if Parker is sick, I don't want him to getting other kids sick, so he's gonna stay home.
Yeah,
You know, we'll give him some like educational activities while he's at home.
for real, dude.
I'll take it as it is. Like, if you're sick, hey, you're staying home.
Yeah,
Lay, we're
yeah.
gonna we're just gonna do something else.
Imagine this. So your kid gets sick. They touch other kids. 10 kids get sick.
Yeah,
Then 100 kids get sick, or their
yeah,
parents. It's just like a never ending cycle of sickness. So I don't want to be like, I can't ethically and morally allow my kid to go to school when they're sick.
yeah. Really, truly, it comes down to that. And dude, it's so crazy too because so my cousin they have a kid too, right? He's I think he's 7 now, but it's so crazy because while he was at home before starting school, he wouldn't really get sick, right? And it wasn't until he started like preschool and kindergarten and going into first grade and all that, being around other kids and being exposed to all this extra stuff, that he started getting sick.
Oh, dang.
And then every time he got sick, he'd bring it home to his parents,
That's
and
the
the parents
worst.
would get sick.
Yeah.
So it's like, and these two are like really healthy parents too, right? They eat right, they're fit, they exercise a lot, and to see them get sick too, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And you sort of have to expect that as a parent now,
Yeah.
I think. So for all our future parents and our current parents or new parents watching, just expect to get sick. It's gonna happen. Stay active, keep up with your fitness and your health, and just take it day by day.
Bro, I'm not excited for that. Like getting sick all the time.
Yeah,
Like it really like it's hard for me to work at all. Like but I know as parents we do have to be like, okay, just gotta get work done.
yeah, absolutely. There's no
Yeah,
sick days being a parent. Even if your kid is sick, you can't take a break.
for
You
real.
gotta take care of your kid.
Dude, this is the next level of parenthood where you just have to do it. Look at their smiling face and just work, dude. Like
Yeah,
especially as men, as providers. I mean, people who work as parents.
yeah, and it's so interesting to really look at too, because as your kid gets older, like you encounter new problems. There are new walls you have to overcome now.
Yeah.
With every stage of development.
Yeah, no,
There's something.
I hear you because we have a friend who has a 3 year old, and this 3 year old is like running everywhere, like being really hard. They say that that age is really hard, like
Really?
3, because they're hard to control, maybe. And they're running all over the place, and it's just mom and baby, and especially if you have like a stay at home wife, they're gonna be together all the time,
Yeah.
like 24/7.
Oh man. Yeah. Shout out to our wives for
Yeah.
for handling our children.
How do you feel about your family structure in the future? Would you want me to be a stay-at-home mom? Because I'm okay with that if I had good money.
Yeah, I yeah, I think that'd be my answer too. It really comes down to where our finances are at that time. Like right now, we're really trying to do the whole stay at home mom thing.
Yeah.
But I think me also, like she's an extremely hard worker, so she's like, I kind of want to go back to work.
Oh,
You
really?
know, so I was like,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to, totally fine. Like we'll figure it out, right? Because I think being realtors too, we have a little bit more flexibility. Like we don't have to go to an office every single
That's
day.
true. That's true.
So if she wants to go to work, it's okay because I'll be at home. And then eventually, like I want to be able to bring Parker with me to
Oh,
showings,
that would be cool, dude.
right? It'd be
Yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah.
I want to teach him to be like to go up to my clients and be like, "Hey, Mister, can you buy this house for my dad so he can get me some ice cream?" Like, who's gonna say no to
Yeah.
that, right?
He's gonna help you sell, dude.
Yeah,
And then you can pay him as an employee.
exactly, exactly. And even now too, we're doing something like really interesting, and hopefully my CPA can help us figure this out. But I saw a bunch of stuff on Instagram and Reddit too. I think it should be okay. So the reason why I post Parker up a lot on my social media and stuff is I want to be able to pay him monthly.
That's cool.
So it works as like a tax like deduction, or
Because he's your
maybe not tax
employee.
deduction. I'm not a CPA. Please talk to your tax attorneys and all that. This is just what I learned through social media, but I'm paying him for his modeling services, and I'm going to use that money that I'm paying him as a write off. And because he's not 18, he cannot get taxed on that income.
That's awesome.
So this is getting kind of crazy.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah,
I've heard that the wealthy does this too.
yeah. So we're doing that. Hopefully, my CPA can figure out what I'm trying to accomplish, and it's not illegal.
Yeah.
If it is, I'm sorry. But if it does work, maybe consider doing this too if you have the means to do so. Because yeah, it'll really help with come tax season. And I know right now like there's a lot of fears with like AI too that like a lot of parents out there don't like posting up their children.
Yeah, yeah.
For fear of like creeps out there using AI to like artificially age their children into adults
Oh
and then
man.
putting their faces onto videos, and those videos are of people doing really weird things.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm not super worried about it, but maybe in the future I will be, depending how advanced AI becomes in the future. How do you feel about that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, we actually don't post Lay at all. From the time she was born, like we only post Lay as a newborn because right now she looks completely different.
Yeah,
But I didn't even consider like the AI aging and stuff like that. But we just want to protect her at this very moment, so people won't know how she looks like, and like yeah, and especially she's a girl, right? Like
yeah.
we have like a lot of fears about that.
There are a lot more fears. I think being a father, especially when you have a daughter, I think that comes with a whole host of other fears too,
Yeah,
right? Like, take us through that, Chris. Like, what kind of fears do you see,
yeah.
like being a girl dad?
Dude, it's because I'm a dude, right? And I know what like men think about, right? I know like
Unfortunately,
as a growing male, you always want to chase women and say inappropriate things to them. That kind of stuff that we went through when we were younger. And I guess I'd want to protect her from meeting bad men
yeah,
that can take advantage of her. I want to educate her on like, hey, this is how you deal with these kinds of people who are a little stubborn, too strong, come from bad backgrounds, stuff like that. And that's something haven't figured out yet, but that's a fear that she would fall in love with
wrong kind of
yeah, the
guy.
right wrong kind of
Yeah,
guy, be in the wrong kind of group. At the same time, I understand that it's important for any individual to go through rough patches
yeah.
like that
That's
in
how
their
you
life.
grow as
Yeah,
an individual. That's how you mature.
because I've done it too. My parents were really strict, but I just broke out like in college and like I drank and stuff like that, and and went to parties and yeah, just can't mention it here, but basically I know what what's kids think is cool at the time, right? Like
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And I totally feel you 100% on like just keeping your children safe, And I think from like a boy dad perspective too, like I want to make sure that he grows up knowing how to treat women properly,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And much like you had mentioned earlier, like being a guy, we go through the same things, right? We have hormones, everybody has hormones. Growing up, we're very immature and we view women in a certain way until we mature. But it's that time frame, especially in like high school and college, when a lot of things can happen,
yeah, yeah,
right? I want to make sure that I raise Parker properly so that he can handle himself in those situations,
yeah,
so that he doesn't end up victimizing people, victimizing women and all that. And it's a huge like pressure on me too. Like right now, not so much because he probably doesn't understand it yet. But as he's growing, that's gonna be like a big thing that I'm gonna be teaching him constantly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You know what I heard, dude? I don't know where I heard it, but it was some psychologists talking, and they're like, the way you can raise really good children is to have meals with them. It's at the dinner table where they learn like mannerisms and like spending time with good role models, I guess.
I fully agree with that. I think I read something
Yeah,
very
I don't
similar to
know
that
where it
too.
is,
Yeah,
but
a lot of lessons happen at the dinner table, something
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I think that's so true though. But I think it's also like the overall like lesson behind that is just being present as parents.
yeah. This is super important for
Yeah,
me as a parent because my parents were too busy to take care of me.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's why you and I are trying to do what we're doing. It's to buy back some of that time so
Yeah,
that we can give it to our children, so that they
exactly.
can have the role model like to look up to.
Yeah, yeah.
I think especially for daughters even, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this might be getting kind of deep here, potentially controversial, but
Say
like
it, dude.
I think a lot of, oh, this is really bad. I hope we don't get canceled for this.
Do it, man.
I think a lot of women who go through a lot of these issues with men in their lives, it's because they lack a strong parental figure,
Oh
a
yeah,
strong father figure, you know? Like if I had a daughter, like I'm gonna make sure as hell that I am like the strongest man that she'll ever know, that I'm gonna teach her right, and I'm gonna show her like this is the kind of man that you need to find, or woman,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
2024, almost 2025. So,
For
whatever you want to do, totally fine. But these are the characteristics that you need to find for yourself, in a partner,
yeah,
right? And I think that's so important to instill. And even for my son, too, I want to be that role model to show him this is how you act. This is what it means to be a provider,
yeah,
to be independent, um, and just to know how to act,
yeah.
you know?
100%, dude. Any other advice to parents worried about their kids falling or just anything to help other parents feel comfortable?
I think my number one advice is follow your gut. Like, I think even as new parents, there's a lot of things that we don't know, but at the same time, like subconsciously, you kind of know, like if your child is in need of immediate medical attention, right? So, I think me and I hope that we did the right thing. We were thinking about going to the ER, but obviously, we immediately called the pediatrician to find out what our next steps are going to be. But for all my parents out there who are gonna go through the same situation at some point in their baby's lives, I think the biggest thing is just staying calm, being present, and really just kind of taking a step back and looking at the situation for what it is. Is my kid like coming in and out of consciousness? Is my kid like starting to throw up? Is my kid like bleeding? Is there swelling? Is there bruising? Um, oh, our pediatrician gave us some really good advice too, because um, one of the things that Nia and I were worried about was, did he dislocate something on the
uh,
fall on the way down, right? Because we didn't see it.
yeah.
So for him, he was like, okay, like even if your baby is fussy, let him be fussy because that is probably the best time to figure out if he dislocated something. So his advice was put baby on the bed or somewhere soft and let them be fussy
Oh,
because you're going to notice if they did dislocate something, they're going to favor one side more than
oh,
the other because there's pain on that one side. So if you see that, that's a sure sign that you probably need to go to the ER because they need to get something realigned or put back in place. And then obviously like bruising or something dislocating as well, it's going to come with some bruising because baby's skin is very delicate too. So, look out for those things and your baby best too. And really like if you just cannot handle the situation at all and you just want to be sure, just go to the ER.
yeah.
It's totally fine to do that. There is absolutely no shame in it. Although I did read that a lot of people, when they go to the ER, they just kind of check out the baby and they look for those same signs too. And they're like, oh, okay, you can go home. Like, there's really nothing that like they'll really do
Yeah.
unless your baby is exhibiting really serious signs of like some sort of concussion or potential like head damage,
Wow.
right?
That's
So
good to know.
yeah, so like honestly, it might end up just being sort of a waste of time going to the ER too. But
Yeah.
if you need that sort of comfort, go for it. Nothing wrong in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Awesome.
I think another thing too that our pediatrician did mention too that there's a whole myth, probably from our parents' generation, that after a fall, you have to keep the baby awake. But our fall happened at night. So obviously, like Parker is like super tired still at that time, even after that traumatic kind of fall. So for us, it's like it's kind of hard to figure out, okay, is he dozing off because he's tired again, or is he dozing off because there's some kind of like head damage that we have to be worried about?
Yeah.
So what our pediatrician recommended was, maybe for like an hour, hour and a half, maybe after he calms down, try to do something like with him, whether it's like letting him watch Bluey or trying to feed him something or playing with him. Do something and watch their reaction. If they're still interacting with you normally, then odds are everything's okay. But if you notice that they're like kind of lethargic or they're just like refusing things that they like, or if they just their eyes are a big thing too. You gotta have to kind of watch their eyes a little bit. If they're like not focusing or if they're like kind of like I don't know the right word for it, if they're looking kind of loopy,
Yeah.
that's probably a good sign that you need to go to the ER too.
Wow.
But if everything checks off, then odds are your baby's okay. And at the end of the day, like I think we as parents also need to remember our babies are super resilient. And even during the birthing process, when you and I were in the hospital too, the nurses kept telling us like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Your babies are tough. They're a lot tougher than they look." It's funny too, and this could be like a different conversation for another episode. But I remember being in the delivery room, and after Parker had come out already, they were I don't want to say tossing him around, but it kind of felt like it.
Like
They're
they're wiping him down really
yeah, they're
hard and
wiping him down
dude,
and like
exactly.
they were kind of like flipping him over and tossing him around. I'm like, whoa, 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 like be careful.
Watch out,
And when
buddy.
they're like swaddling him, like, oh man, like the nurses in there, they know what they're doing. But man,
Hmm.
I was like, hey,
Like a
be
little
gentle,
rough.
you know. But you need to get over it. You're gonna get over it really quickly too, because you realize very quickly that your babies are actually super resilient, and the nurses will tell you too. It's like, it's okay.
Dude, that's really good to know.
Yeah, they'll bounce back. It's all right.
That's awesome. Dude, so last thing, I know that you stayed up just watching Parker the whole
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
So this is really fresh for David and dude, lots
extremely.
of lots of lessons.
Yeah, I think partially it was out of guilt, but also out of fear that we just stayed up because we were like we need to make sure he's breathing because like even though the pediatrician told us that it's a myth, you have to keep him up. We still couldn't shake it. Like, okay, is he sleepy because he's actually just tired, or is he sleepy because he has some brain damage or something?
Yeah.
So we're just like, okay, we're just gonna watch him, like just make sure he's breathing throughout the night. And then definitely like whenever he flipped over like to sleep on his stomach, we're usually okay with that. But that night was like, no, you're not sleeping on your stomach at
Oh
all.
wow, yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
either side or like on your back, not on your stomach. No way. I don't want to see your nose in the mattress. But it was okay. Everything worked out. He's his normal happy self again. If the parents out there like maybe don't have access to a doctor, or maybe they just want to talk to somebody who have been through similar situations, like feel free to reach out to us too. We're not experts in any way, shape, or form, but we're
Yeah.
still figuring things out. But we've experienced it. We kind of know what you're gonna go through, so just talk to us. We
Heck
don't bite.
yeah. And we want to build a community of dads and even parents, just moms, to just talking about stuff like this. Come talk story, and we'll talk about being a parent in this beautiful state of ours. And that's our sign off.
Shoots.
Peace out.